Last time on the Incorrigible party. With what seems like little hesitation, Zalmo secures the signature of each party member, officially enlisting them as his specialists, to undertake nearly any task he needs accomplished within the city limits. The party then visits their new home, the Keep, where they find further instructions on their self-imposed incarceration in Storm's End, to retrieve Benito Algator, and hopefully, an unharmed Constable Lilton.
So, are we back to needing Benny?
Well, he can't drive a carriage, so...
And he wouldn't need to if it's parked there, so I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Save us some money hiring Frank.
Well, Frank's iffy anyway.
Yeah, and I think, the more eyes that see us, what we're doing, the more complicated this gets.
So when they want to go put all the carriages away and Benny's there like, no, don't. Like, how... Are you gonna give some orders to someone else or something, Hellcrook?
Yeah, I think, I could let them know that this carriage is going to be hired out for the day and the night.
Yeah, I think you should, because I think Benny sounds like he probably, wouldn't win a fight, and we'd lose our carriage.
Fair.
Oh, no, we're not going to have to worry about that.
You can give him a note.
Yeah, I could sign it, but I could just make sure that whoever's going to be stationed down there working that day knows. They don't need to round up that carriage for the night. The other thing I was thinking of, we could maybe get some fishing gear to bring with us in case someone stops us and questions us and asks what we're doing out there.
I have 2 fishing poles with my camping gear in my bedroom.
Yeah, it might make for a more believable story as to why we're out in the middle of the bay.
They're kind of cool. They, collapse. So they'd be like, you don't have a fishing rod. It'll be like, expand it and be like, yes, I do.
I like it.
Toggles and sprockets, right?
Yeah.
For all your fishing needs.
All right, so we've got a plan, yeah? We're in agreement?
Sounds like a good one.
Sounds like a plan.
So are we still going to a restaurant?
I am pretty hungry, yeah.
We gotta take all our stuff down, put it in a bottle. Let's go do that. I'll go get my stuff. I'll meet you where you want to eat. What's close to Toggles and Sprockets?
The pickled almond.
Pickled almond. How about that?
All
Alright, see you there in a few.
Okay, so what, basically all of your magic stuff you want to put into the bottle, essentially, right? Does that include the signing bonus stuff, or are you going to leave that in the house? Do you not think the house is secure at all?
There's gonna be people moving stuff into the house, potentially. Or who knows? We don't know who's got keys to that house.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be furnished within 5 days, so that's a valid point.
They didn't take our gold that they left us.
We don't know that anybody's been there since Zalmo put it there.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a guy put it there. He didn't put it there.
Good point. All of the magic, even the new stuff, is going to go into the bottle.
Let's take the new stuff.
So there's no limit on the amount of stuff you can store in there, or is it like a cubic size?
20-foot radius cylinder, 20 feet high, and resembles the vessel.
Okay, yeah, more than enough room for all of your items.
Cool.
If you want to put a horse in there, you go ahead and do
a
that
whole
too.
carriage in there. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You could put our carriage in your necklace.
So, I'm basically everything I own's going in there except the clothes on my back.
Okay.
Right? Is everybody else in the same boat?
Yeah, I don't
No.
trust bringing anything into prison.
No.
Yeah, because Kylie doesn't have much more than that.
I'm just gonna leave my weapons on my bed and my armor on my bed, that sort of things, because it's part of the story. I went camping. I'm not gonna bring it. Well, maybe I would have brought a dagger with me, so I'll put a dagger in the bag or something. But
So yeah, you kind of all meet back up at Toggles and Sprockets. You can fill the bottle, and you kind of go back into the back workshop, right? And the safe is kind of behind a false wall, right? Right next to the universal translator machine. Opal, you can certainly know how to access it, and you can place this bottle inside and secure basically everything. And now you also mentioned that you wanted to kind of put some equipment in the carriage as well, right? Just some standard weapons, and maybe Opal, do you have a set of armor you might want to put in the carriage?
I mean, really, it's if we need it when we get back.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if we're being chased, we're going to just grab a weapon out of the back. There's not going to be time to don armor.
I have
That's true.
scale mail, but I don't know. Yeah, I have scale mail. I would probably leave I can leave my crossbow in the wagon.
I'll put a dagger in there, even though I'd never use it.
Yeah, I'll leave a staff.
And I suppose we will leave a longbow. We'll leave our longbow in the wagon.
When I close the door to the safe, I go,
Sweet dreams. Stay safe.
Who are you talking to?
Just the bottle. All of our magic items.
Oh, okay.
The other thing that might be a good idea, we could get roughed up in prison. Do we have any, healing supplies we could leave in the carriage? Maybe some potions? Do you have any potions, Opal, or
No.
could
It's
we
a
buy
magic
some?
item. It's already locked up. It's in the necklace.
Okay, well, maybe we could buy some potions to leave in there.
I was worried you're going to ask me to smuggle something in.
That's what I thought too. Have you ever heard of a prison wallet?
It's just a really, really small, slender potion, Rumkey.
Here, I take this healing potion suppository. Just clench up when you need to use it.
Inflicts damage while it heals
Better
it.
now.
I feel better and worse somehow. So what is the time frame that this wagon is being hired for? Indefinitely?
Yeah, that's.
Or are you gonna go with like a day? Like what's
I think I'd hired it for 2 days just to be safe. Yeah.
I don't think Opal would leave potions. It's like
How expensive is a
risky,
healing potion?
Pricey.
Are they?
you can get a standard healing potion for 50 gold pieces, yeah.
50 gold, holy.
Take magic in a bottle.
We thought Aspara was expensive.
Speaking of casting Cure Wounds, does Opal, or perhaps Kelly, is there any type of magical component that maybe you want to leave in the carriage for you to be able to utilize to cast some of your more powerful stuff that might require some type of material component? Or, like, are you going to leave whatever you use for, like, an arcane focus or that kind of stuff, right? Like, Opal, you use your Tinkerer tools, correct?
My kit. Yeah, I guess I'd have to leave a kit.
Well, again, the focus replaces any material components without a gold cost. So if you want to leave those in lieu of your more, prized kit, that might be,
Okay.
That's definitely a possibility.
I mean, Cure Wounds takes nothing.
Okay.
I mean, my spell casting comes from having a focus, though.
Again, the focus simply replaces material components. Like, so you can still utilize the magic if you have the actual material component, even without your focus. Now, your focus also serves because it's your Tinkerer tools. If you need anything that utilizes specifically Tinkerer's tools and you don't have them, you won't be able to utilize that, right?
So Cure Wounds and Healing Word are my spells, and there's nothing as far as healing. They're just verbal.
Yeah, most of my spells are verbal and somatic. I do have one that requires a bit of fleece, which I'm thinking I can just have little pieces of fabric stuck in my pockets. You think that would fly?
Absolutely. If you can definitely put, it's almost like lint basically in the bottom of your pocket, right? Like,
Yeah, just have pieces of fleece, some, sheep wool. Little pieces of sheep wool in my pocket that I can tear off to use.
okay. So you're able to kind of secure this as discussed kind of midday here. And then now you've stored and secreted away all of your prized possessions. And now you were instructed to, near midnight to be meeting Oln, so you can make your way there, I guess, whenever you would like. You can get something to eat, basically enjoy your last, potentially, for a while, free night in the city of Stormcave.
I think Hellcruck and I would probably be letting the other two know, Hellcruck especially, how to deal with other prisoners, like don't make eye contact and, that kind of thing to keep
Opal.
keep any. So when you're in prison, we're already supposed to be prisoners, so they know how to conduct themselves, not to draw any attention.
Yeah, true. We don't want them to really stand out as though they're brand new and looking suspicious.
Opal can't go around waving and promoting her shop.
Yeah.
Hey, when you get out, there's a sale going on.
Hi, I'm Opal. What are you in here for?
How many people did you kill?
I've killed a few.
So then you just kind of bide your time until you begin to navigate across the city. I mean, that can be whether that's on foot or I don't know if you want to catch, kind of one. Again, you're approaching midnight, so you're approaching the end of the carriage service, so you can catch maybe one of the last few carriages of the night. If you'd like, you could take it to about the middle of the corridors exhibition to the station that's there, and then walk the rest of that way. If you do, you could kind of take the main minor road, Concordance Drag, that will take you basically all the way to the water, all the way to that exporter street, right? And then you could take a left and start heading north along the bay, if you'd like to. If you want to take the wagon directly there, like I said, you could certainly pay extra to do that as well. Or Hellcrock would certainly be able to would know whomever is driving this particular carriage you hail, and be able to essentially just what do they say? What do the police say when they take your vehicle?
Oh,
Commandeer.
Commandeer the vehicle.
Yeah, you commandeer the wagon to take it where you need it to be, essentially, if that's what you'd like to do as well.
I think Hellcrook likes to generally pay for his rides so that it's not hurting the business. But yeah, he would maybe flag down a carriage and throw them some coin for the ride. Grease the wheels of Lehan's carriage service, so to speak.
There you go. So the closest station, there's a station right next to the Pickled Almond. You can go to the Tireless station. That's kind of outside of the Tireless hedge maze and that kind of forested area that you all had a picnic there a number of weeks ago. And you want to just take the ride right up to the Quarrelers.
Yeah, I think, and that way, it's a little bit more covert. We're inside the carriage. There's not a bunch of people seeing us going up here and potentially connecting the dots to the crime we're about to commit.
So you can basically take it to the new Quarreler station, as the old Quarreler station actually is inside of the Desolate Domain, which is, of course, cordoned off from the rest of the city. So they had to establish a new station for the Quarreler's exhibition district. And as you all know, of course, like this district, it serves as basically the city's entertainment area, right? Kind of the most well-known landmark within it is being the Concordance Ring, which is essentially a large, like, coliseum or stadium type building. Serves as a venue for like huge crowds, like thousands of people, drawing like marquees, like high-ranking Brawlers Club fights, major theater productions. Probably not anything put on by Giselle Troop from the Troop and Loop Academy, but orchestral concerts, like that sort of thing, right? So between the ring being booked up most nights with some type of performance going on, and the district containing like two of the largest guild halls of the city, right? The Brawlers Club and the Stalkers Lodge. The streets, even at this time of night, sometime after 11, approaching towards midnight, right? They're still quite crowded, and as they've started to begin to slowly thin out, right, into the hours, as the early morning hours approach. And like I said, you get off out at New Quarreler Station along Concordance Drag. Of course, there's like a number of potential customers hoping to get, again, like I said, when the last carriage is out, waiting for a new ride, waiting for a carriage to free up. And from the station here, it's less than a 15-minute walk to the docks, assuming you go straight down the Concordance Drag, which that street directly borders kind of the northernmost wall of the Desolate Domain, actually, before you kind of hit the docks and the bay itself and can continue north along it.
Hold up, we need to talk to Benny real quick. So we'll stop at the fence along Desolate Domain and... Petey, go get Benny. Wait 5 minutes. Talk to Benny. Haggle deal.
It cost a little more than we thought, but he's willing to do it.
Well, as long as he's going to be reliable and trustworthy, I think the price is worth it.
With what we paid, it better be.
Okay, well, that's good. Carlia, do you know, is there any place along here that the shipfolk, sailors, and whatnot, fishermen like to hang out to get a drink, now that the briny balloon is, not a thing anymore?
After the Prowlers Guild kind of went up in flames and the area was cordoned off, there hasn't really been a replacement that's been, officially adopted by the kind of dock workers and the people in Stormcape that are like the transient people, right, that are coming and going off of the ships arriving and leaving. But they would most likely filter further into the Coilers exhibition, like visiting places like the Bash and Clash or Cleats Cups Inn and that kind of stuff, right?
They mostly go to Cleats. Nothing new's really been set up other than that.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't think so either, but...
You thirsty and hungry already again?
No, I'm just trying to make sure I, know the lay of the land over here for when we're making our exit.
So you continue down Concordance Drag, kind of under a cloud-covered sky, right? It blocks, the cloud cover's kind of blocking any moonlight that might otherwise find its way into those shadowed corners, right, of your route. Although all of you would have some form of dark vision, in Kalia's case, being able to see normally in all types of darkness, that certainly isn't a problem for each of you. As you approach, though, the intersection of Concordance Drag and the Low-Lift Boulevard, you hear that distinct, mechanical hum of the plateau lift, which everybody knows is a gondola-type system that connects the upper district of the plateau to the Coilers below. And that lift kind of serves as a very pricey and privileged alternative to walking or riding up the switchbacks that make up the Cliffs Run, which is the only other way to get up to the plateau. And that's how, or it's predominantly used to move supplies up there, right? As the plateau lift is strictly for people. And while any Capian is free to use these lift services, again, assuming that they can actually pay for it, the only people that generally have business in the plateau are high-ranking guild members and other wealthy individuals that either reside up there or are visiting the city from somewhere else in Senta. And the plateau itself is home to the Leaders Forum, which is where the guild masters, they frequently will meet there to conduct their inter-guild business. And of course the Founders Hall, nestled right kind of overlooking the bay and the water, and kind of overlooks towards the Highland Lighthouse at the very highest point of the plateau. That is, of course, where the founding families themselves reside. And they basically resided there since it was constructed very shortly after, they had shipwrecked into the bay and founded Stormcape City itself. In addition to those buildings, the other large, a very large tourist draw for Stormcape is the Bathysphere, which, again, nobles from across Senta and people of wealth from across the world, it's renowned, right? Much like the hedge mazes and the planar tower. These are huge tourist draws and income generation for the city of Stormcape. The Bathysphere is this underwater bathhouse and spa, which literally you will take it all the way down to the ocean floor, and where you'll get these deep sea views in these bubble type containers underneath the ocean, and get to lavish in hot springs that are created by hydrothermal vents in the ocean floor and that kind of stuff. Again, very unique to the city and very expensive to attend. But as the wealthy tend to do as they please, when they please it, the lift itself is staffed 24/7 to be available at any of these highfalutin individuals' beck and call to use, basically.
Do we catch a glimpse of who's... can we see the gondola type thing right now, and do we see who's in it?
You can definitely see that the gondola is lit itself as it is moving, but from this distance, you definitely won't be able to see who's using it. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from trying to get closer and doing so. Time's running maybe a little bit tight, but...
Who cares who's going up there?
Well, somebody is coming down. You see that it's coming down.
down.
Yeah.
Oh.
We probably better hurry and get away before they get down, because the rich tend to have a lot of guards with them.
Yeah, that's a good point, Carlia.
Yeah, we don't want to be late. Meet Oln Nedbol.
You approach the darkened and quiet docks with only that kind of gentle sloshing of waves that lap against the wooden hulls of moored cargo and passenger ships that are secured for the night. And as I had previously described, at this time of night, there's no dock workers, or if there are, there's a very smattering, small handful of people maybe putting in their own time or whatever on their own ships, perhaps maybe. But there are only a handful of empty berths as you're kind of moving along and can take in the view of the docks. Again, there's no lights down here, though, so you can't see any further than your range of dark vision, really. But you move north along Exporter Street past the last docking point. As you approach the sheer cliff, right, that the plateau rests on, you can just make out a flicker of torchlight or lantern light a few hundred feet away at the water's edge. And you approach what looks like an older male. He possibly looks like he's in his mid-60s. Looks very weathered. He's got a dark cloak draped over a set of common clothes. So he's not in any type of guard uniform right now. But he's stooped over this small rowboat that he's pulled kind of partially onto shore, rummaging around in the contents inside of it, as if double checking inventory. When he hears the four of you approaching, he kind of picks up a hooded lantern and kind of shines it towards you for a better view. You see he gives you a grin and a nod. Hey, it's good to see ya. Name's Oln. You must be the specialist.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Get that light out of our faces.
Oh, sorry, dear.
It's good to meet you, Oln. What can you tell us about this job?
Well, I got your job right here. Some prison clothes. I got some new identities for you. I could tell you, we should probably go over a few of the rules about the Storm's End, in case any are unfamiliar.
Yeah.
So, let's see. You get caught with any contraband, you get thrown into solitary. Caught using any magics, thrown into solitary. Mouth out to the gods too much, you get a bit of a beatdown, then thrown into solitary. See, piss off the wrong Trinity member, you get a beatdown from probably the gang, then put into solitary if the wrong god happens to be on shift. So basically, anything you do, you're going to be put through into solitary, so I'd be careful.
You taking us real close to the guy we're supposed to be getting at Benito?
I'll be taking you into the right cell block there. Yeah, you should be coming in to about cell block C, I think, and then I'll be transferring you to B.
And then once we see the guy, can we easily get him back to the cell?
Yeah, well, I've been told I'll be giving you a key. You'll be on your own for there. But the key will get you all around the prison.
Do you know where Happy is?
No, sorry, I don't know where your friend is.
Yeah, you haven't heard of someone named Happy Lilton, who's brought in recently.
Yeah, well, Mr. Zalmo here asked me to check any of the prisoner registries, and I didn't find any official record of your friend.
Hey, Oln, where do they take people that they don't want to be found no more?
Well, that's probably solitary.
Right, because this is totally off the books, yeah.
Solitary's how far from cell block B?
They put all the solitary folks in the A.
Oh, right next to it then.
How many solitary cells are there?
Well, I'm actually not sure. I've never been stationed in cell block A.
Do you know Hellcrook?
I don't know Hellcrook from Jerry. I don't know. I never seen him before.
No, I'm asking Hellcrook. You're too funny, Oln. Oh, Nedbol.
Would I have spent some time in solitary, do you think, Leland?
You've probably been thrown into solitary confinement a time or two, yeah, in your early days of imprisonment, absolutely.
Yeah, I was pretty rowdy when I was first thrown in prison, so I would think I'm fairly familiar with solitaire. So, what do I remember about what the setup is and how many cells there are in solitary?
Yeah, I'm not sure how well of an idea of the number of cells or the capacity of the solitary confinement block. I would probably say that most of the time, after getting a beat down and knocked unconscious by the guards, you kind of woke up in solitary confinement. But of course, you would have been escorted out. They wouldn't beat you up, knock you out to take you out. So they would have escorted you out, and you could judge probably like dozens of cells. Like it's an entire cell block of the prison dedicated to putting people into solitary confinement. So it's a very large section. Oln kind of reaches down into the boat, right, pulling out what he was rummaging with, and he hands you over like a folded up piece of paper.
Yeah, what's this?
Unfolding it, he gives you a very, very crudely sketched out map of the prison. And it kind of, you can see it denotes where along the side of the cliff face open to the ocean where your access point is, like where you're to take the rowboat.
Very crude. Whoever drew this is a child.
Very, very, very crudely drawn. So he hands that to Rumpke, and then you see he also has stacks of prison clothes. And he's like looking through them and like looking at the numbers on them. And in addition to the map, he hands the top one to Rumpke. 8965423. Your name's Delta Bronx now.
Delta Bronx, okay.
To Hellcruck. 899655424. You're Axel Snuff from here on out, eh? To Opal. 899655425. Jewel Crusher. I'm sorry, I spelled things phonetically, so that's Crusher, not Crusher.
I couldn't even remember the number you said, but here I can look at it. 89.
And then finally to Kalia, 899655426. You're Lila Slinks. Now, your cover. You're an out-of-town crew that tried to rob the Fat Cats visiting the Planet Tower. That happened. You happened to get caught a few weeks ago, bud. All right? Now, overcrowding in cell block C means you're getting transferred to B. Now, there ain't been no transfers from C for about 6 months, so you ain't got to worry about nobody recognizing you from the same block, okay? My shift don't start for a few hours, so you're gonna have to sleep in the cell, but you guys can get used to that. Hey, you might be in there for a while.
Aren't we kind of suspicious if we're the only ones transferred in the last 6 months?
Transfers happen all the time. Sometimes not for a while, sometimes a whole bunch at the same time. But look, you got locked up as a crew, you thrown into Storm's End as a crew. You ain't even from the city.
Right. What city is this? I forget. Right?
You got it right there, Jewel.
Where are we from?
Look, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't get into too many details in there.
You sound like you were in the Masons.
No shit, I used to be a Mason. But, I ain't no good none at it, though.
Yeah, I used to be a Mason, too. I was pretty good at it, but, things happen. That's good to see you. Give him the handshake.
The Mason handshake. Yeah, I'm a bit rusty. What the hell happened that got you doing this stuff?
Yeah, this and that. Sort of, things happen. Sort of fell on hard times and stuff,
Well, it started with the parade. The Founders Day Parade.
Yeah, no, not you.
And Ike
not you,
Pearl.
honey. Not you, Jewel. Sorry, I was,
You asked how this all
I was
started.
talking to Bronx here.
Yeah, well, this and that, things happen and, I ended up here. It's good money,
I thought his name was Delta.
Yeah, Delta Bronx.
Delta Bronx.
You better each learn that.
I need to learn the last names. Okay, and Axel...
Axel Snuff.
Oh, Snuff. Okay. I'm a Jewel Crusher.
Yeah, that's right.
And Lila's a Sphinx.
Slinks. She slinks.
Ah, Slinkies. Yeah.
All right, you got some clothes here that'll fit me?
I hope so.
Yeah, I got some pretty big guns here. You gotta make sure you got some sleeve room there. Let me check that stuff out. So you got my number on it?
Yeah, they all got your numbers on them. So you're basically as if you were admitted sequentially, like you're ending in 23, 24, 25, and 26, right? So your all numbers are like back to back. Hey, so you got anything that you might want me to smuggle in there for you? I can maybe take something small for each of yous. You don't got nothing on you, right?
We were told nothing but the clothes on our back.
All right, that's all right. Look, I'll make sure I get you each something to defend yourselves in case that comes up.
Like a shiv?
Yeah,
Chopsticks?
I'll make them myself, or I'll seize the contraband myself.
How likely is it that we'll need something like that?
Well, Subblock B is it's a tough place. What do you think Benito's in B?
Benito's been in there a long time. Do you know what he did?
Well, you don't know Benito Agatar? He was the head of the Prowlers Guild. The place was running illegal operations for the city for years. So they threw him in there once it went tits up.
I mean, he's been in prison for like 2/3 of my life.
He just shakes his head at that.
Hey, are we being optimistic by thinking we might be out of here by, like, noon day after tomorrow?
Well, if you're out of here before I'm off shift, then I'll be truly amazed.
We're gonna have shivs. We're gonna have keys. We have a map. We're fine.
You don't get the key until you got Benito. Those are my instructions from Mr. Zalmo, and I only do what Mr. Zalmo says.
How do we get him without a key? The key.
Yeah, we need the master key to, like, get around.
You're gonna be in his block, so once you talk to him and he agrees, then I can get you the key, and then again, you're on your own. I can't take you anywhere else.
So Benito's not aware that we're hired there to take him away from here. He's
Yeah, is there a code word?
Doesn't know we're coming.
Not unless Mr. Zalmo had some way to get word to him. But it wasn't from me. It ain't from my lips.
All right, we'll figure it out as we go.
Good luck.
I'm getting nervous.
I'm getting nervous too, Opal.
Are you going with us in the boat?
Oh, hey, no. I ain't taking you nowhere in the boat. I'll beat you once you're all on the other side of that prison cell.
So I look at the map again. I go, so we're going to this little X right here you got marked. What's it look like? It's pretty dark out here. Try to find our way into a little secret hidey hole here on the cliffside.
I mean, I ain't never been there personally, but I think there's some shore around that area once you get past all the rocks.
All right.
Yeah. Whew.
Guess we'll see how it goes. See you inside there, Oln.
We'll give you each a little salute and start to trudge off.
Time for your workout, Rumpke. Get rowing.
Yeah, okay. I hop in the. I put the prison uniform on.
What if we're seen with them on? Okay.
All right, hop in.
Rumkey, are you sure you want to be wearing that in case another boat pulls up within looking distance of us and sees someone in prisoner garb in the boat?
I just put it on.
It's dark. They won't see us.
How dark is it in this area?
Like I said, there's like no moonlight. There's no additional lights, especially out on the water. The really only light source you can see is far off into the distance, like the rotating light of the Highland lighthouse.
We may not be able to change later. We may be stuck on the boat.
You're right.
Best to change now.
Okay, turn around, guys.
Is there like a rope in the boat, like where we can tie this boat up when we get to the location and stuff?
You do see there's about a 15-foot length of rope attached to the bow at the very front of the boat. Yeah, and there's one set of oars.
All right, let's hop in it.
All right, well, if you say so, I'll change now too. I guess you got a good point. It's pretty dark.
Kylia changes as well.
Everyone get their bit of privacy that they need to put on their prison clothes. And now, like I say, so everybody but Kylia has dark vision out to 60 feet, right? And Kylia is seeing normally. So Kylia has a far extended range out here on the water compared to the three of you. So she can kind of act as like the navigator / surveyor, making sure. I imagine you want to stay fairly close to the cliff, right? Kind of keeping on your left side to be able to navigate around it, essentially trace this kind of parallel path around it, right, to get around where the map kind of has the X marked, right? In the bay itself, the waters seem to be relatively calm. However, as you push off from shore, like those black clouds above that have been threatening inclement weather for the last couple hours finally make good on that promise, as it does begin to rain, which does cut down visibility on the water for even Kylia being able to see normally in all types of darkness. But you are still able to kind of trace that parallel path with the cliff face of the plateau. Again, keeping it on your left. Close enough to keep it in Kylia's sight range, which with the rain is probably about 120 feet or so away. And with her directions and, again, that keeping the sweeping light of the Highland Lighthouse to your right, essentially on the opposite side of the rock formation that you're going around, right? You can kind of use both of these points to triangulate yourself as you're navigating out to the mouth of the bay. Skirting the rowboat out to the left and around the landmass, you're just heading out into the open waters, which become immediately much choppier. So Rumkey at the helm of the oar, can you please make me an athletics to keep your course straight against the stronger currents. Only a DC 12.
Oh, well, lucky I got a 13 then.
Okay. You are struggling against the ocean's power, winning that battle as you keep the cliff face in sight to your left. You start to you kind of maneuver the right hand oar right, spin the boat a little. You point the bow of the rowboat so the waves kind of break against the side of you rather than you hitting them head first, right? And you begin to drift off like northward, essentially, out into these open waters. Through the rain and the darkness, to your right, a massive longship like suddenly appears into your range of vision, like out of that rain screen, essentially. Kylea being the one to see it first before it gets within each of your sight lines. It easily, like it's 100 feet long, 30 feet wide, easily cutting through the waves that are giving you some trouble. It does seem avoiding the crashing waves as you did successfully taming your path. It's taken you far enough out of the ship's path not to potentially be capsized by the large wake that it's throwing behind it, right? And from your position, you can see there's like a smattering of lanterns. They seem to be lit on the deck as it's sailing past you. Not very many, but enough to illuminate an encircled cross-shaped crest and the word Veritas on the main sail before it begins to raise, like they're furling, like they're pulling it up so it's no longer catching the wind. And then you see like the lanterns like blink out like one quickly after the other, completely extinguishing it as it begins to like coast into Stormcape Bay, like completely going dark, basically.
Remind us what we know about Veritas.
I'll say growing up in Stormcape, the city was founded to be removed from global events, essentially, right? So what you would know is that the Veritas, the Nautilus Shard, and the Forgehorn are all like three huge major conglomerates, basically, that exist within Senta. And of course, they're the three major butting heads in every mineral war to date, including the third mineral war, which is the era of Senta that you are currently in. Could probably put together this boat's arrival and the lift coming down that somebody of privilege or power from the plateau is meeting some member or contingent of the Veritas.
Thank you for telling us that. I don't think we would have figured that out, right? I wouldn't have.
I think Rumpke knows the word or about, who Veritas has heard that.
Well, you also, if you recall to your dinner with Zamo certainly mentioned the Veritas and how Rumpke's encounter at the Bash and Clash was with a Veritas member.
I don't know who they are, but I can only make some assumptions that they're not good people from my perspective, from at least what I know.
But the ship sails past you, doesn't seem to notice you. It just kind of stays its own course into the bay, and then it's again quickly like screened by the rain and the consuming darkness of the bay itself.
I think you're just going to keep on trying to row so we don't get pulled out to sea more and go more towards the coastline if possible.
Rumpke, you're starting to get used to being behind the oars kind of thing. So as you, again, turn more northward and then kind of northwest, you're kind of circling that little outcropping of the plateau, right? And again, high above, like 600-700 feet, is the Founder's home. Like you're almost like right below the Founder's home as you're circling out of the bay here. So why don't you give me one more athletics check as you're starting to come around a set of like jagged protruding rocks that jut up out of the water. You can see like old vestiges of shipwrecks, smaller vessels that had slammed up against them, like bits of rotting wood just never collected or rescued here that have washed up against these rocks.
All right, I got a 15.
Yes, definitely enough. As I said, you are certainly getting used to now these waves and catching the rhythm of them. You find kind of a spot which, again, you have a rough map, and it's raining, right? You guys are soaked by this point too, and you find the first bit of actual walkable but like very narrow shore, a few hundred feet past those jagged rocks that are very common. Ships are very commonly caught on, and you're able to finally get up onto this bit of shore. And searching around, trying to use this map as effectively as you can. Some amount of time passes where you find, finally, a long kind of flat rock that's leaned up against the cliff face. And pulling it back, you see that it's covering a hole in the rock. Kind of narrow, it's only about 2 feet in diameter. And when you pull this rock, that waves are crashing up against this cover. And as soon as you, of course, unveil the hole, like water's pouring in as the waves are rushing over the shore and then receding back out, right? So you've uncovered now what you would presume is your access tunnel into the prison.
Is there a safe place that we can tie the boat up, even with all this crashing waves? Like, do we flip it over and can we even get it into the? It's too big to get into the hole, right?
Oh, you certainly can't get into the 2-foot diameter hole. So, yeah, you could try to upturn it and pull it further up the shore or closer to the actual cliff. You can definitely find some of those large rock formations to kind of lash, tie the rope connected to it around. I don't know if you want to. Yeah, I don't know how else you want to try to secure it. Like, you want to try to find a formation that you can maybe wedge it behind so there's very little movement.
Yeah, if we can. Something, flip it over so we can sort of, put the inside of the boat around a rock facing back towards the cliff, and then wrap the rope around it and tie it off.
Definitely. It may take you another 10 or 15 minutes to find a suitable kind of storage space to stow your boat away. But you have successfully secured it, at least from what you can tell currently.
How much change in the elevation of the water is there with the tide here?
I'm not sure how much of that you would know, but you definitely do know, again, the systems implemented in the waterway are meant to essentially offset the tide for the Stormcape Bay itself. So that will assuredly have also an effect in kind of keeping the water at a near constant level in the proximity of the bay as well.
I think as soon as we get everything tied off, we make our way into the hole and then see if we can move that rock back in to somewhat, cover it up.
All right. What's the marching order for climbing in? You're going to have to squeeze into this hole. It might be fine for Opal in most areas, but the rest of you, you'll be squeezing through this fairly tight space. So it's going to have to be single file. So who's going first, basically? Who's leading?
I'll go first.
Is it completely dark in here?
It is.
We will go first, so we can see anything ahead.
Sounds good.
I'll take up the rear just to make sure no one comes at us from behind.
Okay, so Kylia, Rumpke, Opal, Helkirk?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so you want to try to put that rock back into place. Again, you're going... So does that mean, Helkirk, are you going to go in feet first? So you have your... Because you're not going to be able to reach around you to pull the rock.
Oh, yeah.
So we're basically on our hands and knees.
You're going to be belly crawling in through this tunnel by the looks of it, yeah.
But Opal can walk.
Well,
No.
2-foot diameter, so Opal's fairly small.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just have to leave it uncovered. I don't think I can go backwards through this. That would be super awkward.
Can I do it? Because I'm 3 feet tall. Can I turn around in the... No, not really, I guess.
Like, when you described it, when you open it up, is it a lot of water going into the hole?
When the water is coming in, it's a foot of water entering this kind of 2-foot hole as it's washing in and then washing. And you can see to kind of into the extent of your dark vision, it looks like the tunnel is actually fairly straight. It definitely narrows in some areas, and you can see water is starting to kind of pool to the extent of your vision, at the bottom of this tunnel.
I'm claustrophobic enough that I do not like even talking about this.
Emily's face is it's
Hold
like
up your
she's
X card,
looking at
Em.
blood or something. Yeah.
Hey, I think we're going to have to cover up this hole or it's going to flood.
Opal would certainly be able to pull up the rear and be able to twist around and use around and stoop, basically, to try to pull the rock into place if she were to bring up the rear.
You know what? I think maybe I'm not going to be able to go last. We need Opal, I think you're going to have to try and close this off behind us, or else we're going to be getting washed out while we're in here.
Okay, let me see. Let me practice. I'll, like, go in. I'll stoop down, like, kind of, like... Okay, yeah, I can do it. Okay, go ahead.
This is like my worst nightmare.
I know. When I was preparing, I was like, I hate this. I hate preparing this.
I'm not very claustrophobic, but this is awful.
Opal, can you please make me an athletics check to move the rock back into place?
I'm just really believing that it's Opal and not me right now, okay? That would be a 5.
Uh-oh.
You can certainly budget, and you do your best to lean it up against the hole.
Can I try again?
Well, again, the water is splashing in the longer you take in this tunnel. So if you want to take more time to try to move it into a better position, by all means go ahead. But the water is quickly like getting up to your ankle height here as you're stooped over. And keep in mind, everybody else is face down on their bellies.
Almost there.
Never mind.
Can you get that thing covered up?
I rolled a 5 and then a 4. Oh.
So Kylie and Rumpke
Gosh.
further in, like you're damp, right? But Hellcruck directly behind Opal, as she's struggling with this, you can't really see what she's doing, right? You can maybe twist around and get onto your back, right, in the immediate entrance to this tunnel. But like your feet are getting and ankles are getting hit by water, Hellcruck, as Opal is fumbling with this cover.
I'm sorry, guys. Just keep going.
It's okay, Opal. It's an awkward space to have to do that. Let's just move as quick as we can and try and stay as dry as we can.
Belly crawling, stooping for Opal, you squeeze your way through about 500 feet of tunnel, which feels much further than it is, right? And it narrows in some areas to only a few inches wide in some places as you were, turning your head sideways and shuffling your bodies. And now, kind of failing to cover the hole, like seawater's rapidly flowing in around you. You see there's a few dips, again, in the first, 100 feet or so as you get to, you have to fully submerge your face before coming up around the other side of it, right, as water is pooling in these little divots. But you continue as quickly as you can, scraping your prison clothes right against the rock in some of these tighter spaces. Kylia in the front, you finally exit the tunnel and you find yourself in a small, very small 5x5 foot little chamber, but it's only 4 feet tall, so you're still kind of stooped. There ain't much more room in here for anyone else just yet. But the only other thing, directly opposite the tunnel, you see in front of you a brick wall. Kylie, can you give me an investigation check, please?
11.
In front of you is a brick wall. What do you want to do? I assume you're probably trying to inspect it, as I did ask you for an investigation.
Pushing on it, trying to feel for loose bricks and stuff.
Right. So Rumpke, you can see, and if you want, Rumpke, you can also try to squeeze into this small space with Kylia, but that's going to be the extent of the group of you that can fit in here.
Yeah, I want to get out of this hole, so I'll squeeze out. Scoot over a little bit. Put your shoulder back.
Quiet.
Move your foot. You're standing on my foot.
Sorry. I can't.
We don't see an exit.
Behind you now, Opal, the water starting to lap at your feet as it is filling. Kylia, you unfortunately don't find any give in this wall. Rumpke, why don't you give me an investigation check? It is DC 12, so Kylia was very close.
4.
Oh my. I'm gonna drown.
Hey, this is a brick wall.
I'm gonna start making death saves.
Failures is just simply going to mean you are taking more time to do this. As unfortunately, Opal in the rear is going to take the brunt of the cold seawater coming in and filling. But eventually, I'm not going to ask you to keep rolling, but less than another minute of the two of you kind of reaching. Finally, both of you can kind of see in Kylie probably better than Rumpke again with her superior vision. On the wall, there's a small 2 foot by 2 foot section as you keep investigating and looking and feeling with your hand. You see this small section in here seems like it's missing the mortar that would seal the bricks in place. And finally, you pass your hand over a small little opening, and you feel only like a slight breeze coming, if like it's blowing against your wet skin. The only reason you find it, but it's large enough for you to get like a finger into this and kind of knock out like loose little tiny rocks and soil, and you're able to pull off the first brick sitting at the top of this kind of 2 foot by 2 foot section. Can you give me a perception check, please?
Rumkey, look. 21.
24.
I'll just take Kylie, unless you're going to be wanting to shift around. But the first Kylie, because you're impact here, Kylie immediately sees, peering through the hole in the wall, you're looking at into like a 15 by 10 foot prison cell, clearly. As you can see, there's a set of bars at the front of this room. Inside there are 2 bunk beds. They both look like they're secured against the left and the right wall. There appears to be shapes or figures underneath the bedding. You don't make out any faces, but there's like shapes underneath, like covered in the blankets of these cots. Now, kind of as you know, you barely hear over Rumpke's rumbling of you stepping on his feet, though. You've paused your investigation for now, and it's like kind of quieted here. Maybe Opal's murmuring from the tunnel as water is now hitting up to her knees, but no longer making much noise of your own. You can hear the echo of approaching footsteps. They're coming very slowly, like step, step, step. Then they pause. Opal, water is continuing to rise in the tunnel. Kylie, you hear again very slowly the steps start again. Step, 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 pause. Water continues up, Opal, up to your abdomen now. Slow steps again continue, starting to get louder now as they are clearly getting closer. Step, step, step. And finally, Kylie, you see a prison guard comes into view. They pause, stopped in front of the cell that you were peering into, and they appear to look in at both cots, both sets of cots, the 4 beds in here. The shapes under the bedding are unmoving. Opal, the water is now hitting your chest. Now you're shivering in there.
And I'm stooped too, so my face is getting close to it. I don't like this.
Hellcrook gets lapping at your ankles and to your knees as well. Kylie, you see the guard turns on their heel back the direction that they had approached from. Step, step, step. Again, they don't seem to be in any type of hurry. They're now receding. The steps pause. Water gets higher and higher now. Opal, you've got your head up against the very top of this tunnel.
What are we waiting for?
Step, step,
Hurry.
step. Still receding, and then they pause again. Kylie and Rumkey, both of you can potentially start to pull bricks here. And now you're going to have a choice here. You can either choose to attempt to get this opening large enough so you can move out and get the rest of people, Hellcrook and Opal, out of the tunnel. You can do that. You'll be making me a stealth check with disadvantage if you want to immediately start removing bricks while you can still hear, while the steps are still audible. So a higher risk of attracting attention. Or you can wait and make that stealth check to remove the bricks with advantage until you can no longer hear the footsteps, but obviously allowing more time for water to fill the tunnel.
I'll lean back in my head back into the tunnel to Hellcrook. You guys okay out there? There's somebody out there. We gotta wait a few minutes. You okay?
No, I'm not.
Opal's up to her chin in water. We gotta get out of here quick.
Hey, we gotta take the wall down.
Kylie is
we're gonna
already
drown.
grabbing bricks and pulling them out.
Okay, Kylie, please make me a stealth check with disadvantage, as the footsteps are still audible to Kylie and Rumkey.
Well, the high number is a 25, but the low number,
Nice.
the number we're using, is a 16.
Well, that's still pretty good.
That is
That
still,
was a fake
still
out.
pretty good. So you're pulling bricks and you're like dropping them like at both of your feet, on top of your feet, right? You're just in those little like booties that are the prison garment. Like they're just like cloth slippers essentially, making room. You quickly open up a hole large enough where Kylie, you could easily slip in even before the 2 foot is completely open. So Kylie, if you want to slink, if you want to Lila slink into this prison cell as quickly as you can.
All about that slink.
Hellcrook, you can now get your way out of the tunnel. Opal opening up a whole nother person's worth of breathing room out of this water as it recedes down back to your chest. You can continue removing the bricks to fully open up the hole here, and now you can all quickly get into this cell. I'll ask each of you now to make me a stealth check, just a normal stealth check, as you are filing into the prison cell.
Rumpke got an 18.
Kylie, you're good because you're actually already in there.
Oh, good, because I rolled a 1.
Halkruk got a 13.
Opal got a 14.
All right, all three of you pass. You've successfully made it into the cell now. The shapes underneath the bedding, again, this whole time they've been unmoving. You've clearly been very quiet, even in your desperation to tear down this wall. What are you doing? You want to try to seal it back up? You want to check these beds?
I take my shank and plunge it into one of the unmoving bodies.
No, I think they're just sheets rolled up. The guards did it for us.
Yeah, that they've got this set up for us to be there. So I'm going to go over and sort of listen real close, like where the head is supposed to be, to hear if I hear any breathing or snoring, and then slowly sort of touch my hand on like where the shoulder would be.
You are correct. There's just other bed linen stuffed in here to make it look like there are sleeping inmates, as you very correctly surmised, in anticipation of your arrival, so there aren't suddenly people in an empty cell. As this prison guard was clearly just slowly making their rounds, checking in on the inmates. Knowing for sure there's just the four of you in this cell, you can quickly seal back up the hole. You can see water still kind of flowing into now this 5x5x4 space, but very quickly you can replace the bricks, basically.
The bed rolls, are they the fake bodies? Are they something we can keep hidden in the cell, like it would just be in there, or do we have to dispose of them as well?
You see that it's like extra blankets and extra pillows. So, assuming there would be a single pillow and a single blanket per cot, you certainly have extra stuff in the cell.
I think I was supposed to be able to move that rock, because this is gonna be obvious. Look at this. I mean, look at this.
I was going to ask, actually, would we assume that the water's going to continue to come in further and further and eventually be spilling into this cell, or?
Well, the tide will go back out again.
You won't know until it happens, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I could try to swim. And do it, I guess. Dang it, I should have taken more time. What do we do?
Let's get rid of these extra blankets and pillows, and then put the bricks back in the wall.
They're gonna get all wet. Okay.
They're extra.
Plug the
We don't have a
hole.
lot of time. The guard might be coming back any time. Hurry. And be
We're
quiet.
gonna have a limited window to escape with this water.
Yeah, I know.
So would you like to plug the tunnel with the excess linens? Because you certainly
Yes.
can do that. Okay.
I'll try.
Okay. So
Yes.
you've
Yeah.
tried to put some type of stoppage on the tunnel here, and you're able to put the bricks back into place with you on the other side of this wall. And again, like you're all like drenched. You're now soaking wet in a cell that you supposedly you shouldn't be leaving, right? So you're gonna have to hopefully you're gonna dry out by morning.
And wring out my clothes the best I can behind the wall. Yeah, hopefully these pillows and blankets will suck up all the water.
We'll just look like we all peed ourselves.
Alright, we should probably get in bed and stop talking.
I just have really bad hot flashes. It's fine.
So I'll jump up on the top bunk, cover myself up with a blanket, sort of take my shirt off, let it sort of hang off to the back of the bed. Hopefully it'll dry up a little bit better.
Yeah, I'll hop. I'll take the bottom bunk below Rumpke.
I'll go on the other top bunk, but I'm gonna turn and face so that I'm looking at the hallway and observing, because I don't know that I'll be able to sleep, but I want to maybe potentially pick up on anything that I can.
Sure. Okay.
Like if our guy comes in the middle of the night.
And throughout the night, for those that may also have a little bit of trouble sleeping, I don't know if Hellcruck, you're having, near flashbacks to your time in the Cape. Obviously, the majority of your time you spent in a cell was, of course, with your friend and mentor, Eleanor, very long time ago at this point. But those that are kind of more awake or in and out of sleep throughout the night, with Opal's being purposely attentive, Oh, but you will get a very good sense of the timing as far as like the rounds that they do. I mean, they seem not very frequent, maybe once every hour or two. Just a guard will kind of just slowly walk up and down. You can't see much further to your right down the hall. There's obviously a cell across from you. It looks like it's filled with people sleeping in the bed. And it does look like you're kind of the last cells on like this row, basically. So really there's more prison to your right if you're looking out of the cell. But you'll get a very good sense of the timing as far as the patrols here up and down the hallway. And then until those that were able to get some sleep, you're awoken by a sharp rapping on the metal. And you see Oln Nedbol tapping a nightstick against the bars, kind of, bringing them back and forth as he normally would to wake up any inmates were he to escort them somewhere. So you know the city guard uniforms are like that dark green and pale yellow. The prison guards, which are considered to be part of like the city watch, they're just almost like, think of it as like a subsect or a different division, basically. So instead of the dark green, they're actually more of a dark blue and that kind of pale yellow. So they're different color scheme, but like same like kind of type of armor and garb, basically. And he kind of looks in at you, takes a quick peek down the hallway to his left, seeing nobody. And he just smiles. Welcome to Storm's End.
Thanks for listening. You can find a lot of information on our website, incorrigibleparty.com, or from our new World Anvil site, worldanvil.com/w/centa-Leyland Steel. World Anvil is free, but you do need to make an account. Our music is provided by Tabletop Audio, and don't forget Sarastra music. It's been a great addition to things. Oh yeah, and also you can support us at patreon.com/incorrigibleparty, or tell your friends. The more people that know, the more people that'll listen, the better for us. Oh, and give us a 5-star review on wherever you listen to podcasts. That's really helpful. And last but not least, you can join our Discord, which is free and open to everyone. Yeah, everyone. You can get insider info and be the first to find out about new and awesome things. I think that's all. Happy adventuring! Whatever.
This has been a Sounds of Steel production.